delighted to announce our speaker today, somebody I've known for a while. And our Reverend Corky Whitacre is not only a member of this church, but she's also the head of the evangelist office at UCM, Universal Church of Master, which is our parent church. And we are so excited to have her speaking today, because she's going to speak about something she knows a lot about, and that's called integrity. And Corky is one of those people, if she says she's going to do it, she's going to do it. Even if it takes her until 4 o'clock in the morning, she's going to do it. And I like that in somebody, where you can trust them. Have you ever had somebody that you've asked to do something, they say they're going to, and then they don't show up?
Yes.
And you find it difficult to forgive, and then you realize, I can't go around holding on to any of that anger and their frustration. I need to forgive. But you always have that little bit of, but they let me down. Do I really have to forgive them? Yes. Well, Corky's one of those people that doesn't let you down. She's there. You never know how she's going to do it, but she's there. I'd like you to all welcome Reverend Corky Whitacre.
Thank you very much. Welcome very much. Welcome very much. Okay. Done. Okay. The recorder's broken, so I'm trying to do it on my phone. Oh well. Did I? Oh, the recording. Yeah. So, hello everyone.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm helping. What you doing? Yeah, you are. Good girl. Thank you. Okay, my name is Corky Whitacre, and I'm going to, or Corky Boone. We're going to do, the first thing we're going to do, as many of you know, I do a hypnosis, I have a hypnosis practice, and one of my main things I do is EBERT, or Body Entity Releasement Technique. And so I think that it would be appropriate, since there's a lot of loss going on, and I think we can start this going on from the hurricanes. Because when people die, especially when people die quickly and don't realize that they're dead, they have a tendency to stay on the earth plane and to wander around not knowing what's going on or what to do. And for many reasons, sometimes because different religions don't teach you how wonderful you are and how God accepts you regardless of what you've done, they may be afraid to go on for fear of retribution from God, or because they feel like there's work here on earth that they need to do. People may be asking them to stay. They might be addicted to something, and so they need to stay, think they need to get that you know, if they go to the other side, then they won't be able to deal with it, that they don't have their drink or their drug or their sex or their, you know, whatever it is they're addicted to, their coffee in the morning or whatever. Anyway, so
there's not coffee and spirit?
well, there's something like that. I'm sure God wouldn't do that.
Take away our coffee.
Not that. Yeah, there's got to be chocolate in. My gosh. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is we're going to do a ceremony of sorts and help those people release and go into the light. And there's no reason for them to stay here. And if they're, well, I'll talk about that when we're there. Okay, so I want you all to surround yourself with the white light, God's light. Your spirit guides are here to help you and to protect you. To allow yourself to relax, to go into that state of wonderment, of not being held here on this earth by problems, and you know, just let that go for a few minutes, and allow yourself to hook up to that universal energy. And your guides are here to help you. You have assistants. You have your own personal assistants on how to hook up to the energy, to the universe, the multiverse. And we're going to spread out our love all around the world. We'll just kind of keep it confined to the world today, or at this moment. So it's confined to or just surround the world. People that are even on different continents can benefit from this energy. And we're big enough, because you remember, if three of us, it only takes three of us to do a big thing. So with all these people, we can do even bigger. The biggest. Anyway, so we can just let that energy go. It's huge. Just let it go. Go around the world. I'd like to speak to all of those spirits that are afraid, or that are staying here on the earth for whatever purpose, for whatever reason. Let it be known that if you really want to help those people that are left behind, the ones that are alive, is you go into spirit and become a spirit guide. Then you can truly, truly help. Then you have the overview, the bigger picture. Then you have all of God's energy and the angel, every bit of energy to assist you. And you can see further and you know more. And so that you can really, truly advise your loved ones as to what to do and where to go. And so let yourself go. It is the right and proper thing for you to allow yourself to go forward, to learn, to become part of the master plan, to evolve, to spiritually evolve. And there's no fear from God. Our God is a merciful God. Our God loves you unconditionally. So go to that God. Go to the boot camp. Get yourself trained. Come back. And really help. But if you're too afraid to go, you have a spirit guide. Allow that spirit guide to take you by the hand. And the Archangel Michael and his warrior band of angels to create a space for you. Step into the light. Become one with the light. Do it now. Be there now. God bless you all. And so it is.
And so it is.
Amen. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I made that a lot more global than I expected to.
What needed to be.
I guess that's the way it needed to be. I was in the shower talking about my talk.
Who was in the shower with you?
All our guides.
All the guys.
You know. So all of a sudden, I started channeling. I don't know what it was, but they wanted me to talk about Cain and Abel, and they came on cable. It's all about cable. Cain and Abel, you know, that integrity, and when you have to lie, you know, when you're out of integrity and you have to lie so that you don't look so bit like you killed your brother, and how,
You know.
yeah, that whole thing. And so it started out in the beginning of the Bible. They talk about it, and so all of the monolithic God, you know, the religions. That's Christianity, Judaism, and Muslim.
Monotheistic, not monolithic. But I like it. I like it.
You know, those big things that they build to God. Anyway. Oh, yeah.
I think that's what we're not supposed to do.
We know what you mean.
Oh, that's right, there's our doubt things. Yeah.
Remember old Moses said, no, can't do.
Oh, yeah. So that's an example of what we're not doing. One God. That's, you know, so all of the main religions have that in their book, because that's the Old Testament. Okay, so here they're talking right off about being out of integrity. And then I told who was in the shower with me, he said, I don't want to talk about that. You know, I'm not. This isn't. And then but whoever it was, it just kept telling me these things about. Well, the Bible says this, and the Bible says that, and you're supposed to honor your mother and your father, so if you don't, you're out of integrity, and it's like, Jesus Christ. No.
But
Thanks, thanks.
Help me out.
Yeah,
Help me out.
it's like, can't you give the girl a hand here? But then I stepped out of the shower and everything was fine. Anyway, so at that point I was going, what am I gonna, I've got all this stuff written, and now okay. So Dean, this is, all kinds of people have problems when they get up here to speak, so don't worry about it, you'll be great next week.
Dean's talking next week.
Where did Dean go?
Yeah, I'm
Okay, so, but today I want to talk to you about integrity. And that, integrity is honesty and being reliable, and being able, people can count on you, people can, it's honesty, and that your word is your bond, right? And that everybody in here, I'm sure, thinks of themselves, or would love to think of themselves, and probably do think of themselves, as being in their integrity. And so it is a wonderful quality, and it's nice when you can have it. And so integrity depends on trust. And integrity is, to me, is that it's your word, and it's that we can truly have a relationship. That's all we can truly have in a relationship, is trust. And when people cannot trust in what you say to them, there is no solid foundation on which to create a relationship. Everything is thus temporary and superficial. It's a challenge to be held in your integrity, to be able to say, I'm going to do this, and then when something, when it's easy, but when it gets hard, then it's hard to be in your integrity. It's like, oh my God, I'm too tired. Oh my God, I overbooked myself. And then there are many times in a relationship when integrity can look like hardness or being unsympathetic. I mean, I really fell for that one, when it's like, oh, you want me to do this? Okay. Oh, you want me to do this? Okay. Oh. So then I'd have conflicts, and I couldn't do everything, but they would expect me to do it, and so then I couldn't, somebody was going to have to be left out, somebody I'm going to have lied to. I didn't mean to, but I was just, I don't know if anybody else has ever had that problem.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Speak it, sister.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
So anyway, nothing destroys our credibility faster than bailing on a commitment. True. And that if people can't rely on your word, they won't trust you. And they may give you a pass now, or a pass, but eventually people just will doubt you and not believe you. And then they won't ask you to do things, and I don't know which is worse. Having too much to do, or knowing that people don't trust you. Oh, I know the answer to that. People not trusting you, that's the worst. And so how can we teach and then be teachers and healers, if we're not in our integrity? If you make an appointment, try to keep it. Whether you're whichever side of that you're on. God bless you. You can't make the impact that you want unless you have trust of others. Because in our business, usually we're like trying to shift behavior. And how can they trust you if you don't come off as being somebody that knows what you're talking about? So the strength of relationship is measured by how much people can count on you. And when we think of someone with integrity, we think of someone we can count on to come through with a promise. Having integrity requires staying true to your word, even if it's difficult, inconvenient, or expensive. So, some of my history is when I was younger. I'm almost 70 now. So, maybe when I was young, back in the day, my word was my bond. If I said I was going to do something, I was going to do it. And then if I thought something was expected of me, it would happen. So that's your parents think that you're going to go to college. Well, so I told them I was going to go to college. I finally ended up graduating from college in 1991. 1991, I was there. Yeah. But I did it, My mom was still alive, so that was great. So being known as the one who would get it done was so important to me. dependability, reliability, honesty, truthfulness, was the veracity. That was what I lived for. That was me. You know, and then I was a good scout. I was a Girl Scout. I was a Joe's daughter. I played softball at the state level, and I was on the tennis team. I was in an accordion band. Yeah,
Hey.
I practiced long for those things, and I mean, I practiced and practiced and practiced to be able to do those things, and played the guitar, and you know, it was just, if I said I was going to be singing songs around the campfire, I'd be singing songs around the campfire. You know, if I was going to show up and play something for the band, I would, you know, play my accordion, and just it was, when I was younger, that was the way my life went. And then my grandmother died, and I moved up here with my mom. I went to a new school, a new scout troop, new people. Nobody knew me. You know, the high school I attended, Homestead High, was like weird. It took me a couple of weeks to figure out why it was so weird. It's because they were all white people. I mean, I came from Bakersfield, where 50% of my high school was black and Hispanic, and you know. But you go to then you go someplace where there's something wrong here. And it was like a prison. At Bakersfield, you know, our high school was in the middle of the city, and we had a huge park right in the middle of the campus, and then the campus was built around it. I mean, my mother went to Bakersfield High School. That's how old that school was, and then it was. So it was, I was used to being, you know, there's trees here. You go over to Homestead High School, it's like, there's no trees, there's no people to identify with, and my mom was in a state where she was with all these kind of like the more affluent people of Sunnyvale, and was like, I'm a farm girl. And so then, you know, they were, I just didn't feel like I fit in. I wanted to wear Levi's, and my mom wanted me to wear a dress. Of course, we know what that is now, but. Then we moved to Santa Clara, and then again, I went to Cupertino High School. And I hung out with people that my mom didn't approve of, and she was right. I shouldn't have approved of them either, but, you know, so of course I was sneaking around and lying about who I was going out with and what I was doing. Boy, isn't that the worst, lying to the people who love you and trust you? Oh, God. And including yourself. You know, I was feeling like, well, I wanted to do that. You know, and of course, in hindsight, the old 20/20, it's like, no, I was doing things I shouldn't have been doing. So then my stepfather died, and I registered for Foothill College. I graduated from high school. Our house burned down, and then I enrolled at the end, and my mom remarried, and I moved to Hawaii and started drinking. And so I was 20. That's when I was 20. So, and then things just kind of went downhill from there. Yeah, because it's, once you start that kind of thing, and it seems like drinking is going to help, because then when you lie, it doesn't hurt so much. Then when you disappoint people, you can say, well, you know, I was drunk, I didn't know what I was doing. Or you're late. Well, you know.
Slept in.
Yeah, or you don't go to work. Oh, I'm not feeling well, I guess I have the flu. When I lived in Big Bear, it was called the Big Bear flu, and then you'd have to go to the bar and get a shot for it. And that worked. I remember this story that I told Dottie. I used to ride a motorcycle. And I said, oh, it was raining, and there was somebody with a motorcycle. It's like, oh my God, it's so terrible to ride a bike when it's raining. And the guy goes, oh, what happened? I said, oh, well, you know, your bag gets wet and your beer falls out. It's tragic. Yeah. I mean, when I lived in Big Bear, it was like you would tell people how far it was from here to there by how many beers it took you to get there. I mean, it was, what? And I worked graveyard, so because I was a baker then, and then we had a daycare center, so I'd go home, and I'd sit in the swing with my Manhattan or whatever it was I was drinking that morning, and invite, you know, welcome the parents in, come on in.
Your kids are safe here.
Yeah, they're safe here. I would go take a nap. it's just, everything was everything. I mean, I felt that Big Bear was one of those places where God put you when he's still trying to figure out what to do with you. Because everybody was either retired or on welfare, and most everybody drank. And it's just one of those places that's what you did. But it's still, you know, and I was going to school and working 2 jobs
Wow.
and drinking in between. And, but we all have something. I mean, if we're not in our integrity, I mean, I tell you, it's, drinking and drugs are great if you're not going to be in your integrity, because it gives you this big old excuse for not showing up, for not being in your integrity, for not being in your, you know, being dishonest and everything. It's like, well, you know, what do you expect? You know, that's what that person is. And so, I was wondering, have any of you ever had anything like that happen in your life? And that you're
never.
be willing to share, where something happened, or, you know, what are your triggers? What has been the thing that caused you to kind of go off the track, or go over the edge, or something like that? I mean, I don't know which one of these experiences, or if the experiences, you know, I've never blamed the experiences. I drink because I like drinking, but maybe those things did play into it. I don't know.
Mm.
Have any of you ever had anything where you just kind of like went off the reservation?
Absolutely.
Yeah? Yeah? Yeah?
And what I would offer, Corky, is that we have to really be gentle with ourselves, because any kind of loss or change, when you described what happened to you, when you went to the new school, and you had done all of these things in this other community where people knew you.
Can you hear
That
her,
was a
can you hear Janet back there?
That was a huge change.
Mm-hmm.
And when that change isn't acknowledged, we tend to stuff it and put it in our backpack. And then it comes out in bizarre ways.
Mm-hmm.
Drinking, drugging, whatever. I mean, whatever we can do to, you said it very well, to calm the pain. So I noticed when I've, you know, when I've been going through change and I'm not acknowledging it, I go towards depression. And so then I may make commitments, but then I'm too depressed to follow through with them. Or I triple book myself, which happened to me just this Friday, by the way. I was being honored at a ceremony. I didn't know about it till later. I had booked to be at San Francisco PD, and I had booked a class at West Valley College. And I was not paying attention to. And so I just want to offer that, I mean, I just honor you for bringing this out.
Yeah.
I honor you for bringing this out, because it's so easy to be judgmental of ourselves. And it's so easy to rake ourselves over the coals instead of saying, what is the grief? What is the change? What is the trauma that maybe caused this behavior?
Yeah.
To try to quiet the pain.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Christine?
Aren't we hardest on ourselves?
That's, yeah, because we expect so much. I mean, we know what we expect. We know what we can do. We know, you know, all of our innermost thoughts. You know, people could look at me and think, oh, she's trustworthy. And then aside I'm going, oh, they don't know me very well, do they? No, but now I am. I mean, I've worked very hard to
Worked very hard to get clean and sober.
to be clean and
Yes.
sober. And it's, and get my reputation back, because it's, you know, it's easy to fall off but it's so hard to climb back up there.
You know, I think it's important that you try and get other people to trust you, but I think the initial importance is for you to trust yourself first.
Totally. And that's,
Otherwise, it doesn't work.
Right.
and that's one of the things that I have found that when I try to change a behavior for myself, the first thing I have to do is set up, I have to do that talk with myself. What is it you really want? Okay? And is this the way you're going to get it? Right? And so that's what I would do with a hypnosis client. What is it you really want? Is this, you've got to have something that you really want in order for you to be able to say, I want this, I want to be sober more than I want to be drunk. Yeah. And
I have a story from when I was 13. When my mother was working, and we had a woman that was coming in, or she wasn't really a woman, she wasn't much older than me, but she was babysitting for my kid sister and brother. When she arrived at my house that morning, she said, I have a headache, I really need help with the kids. And I said, I have a math test. And she said, you need to stay home with me. Please, I beg of you, stay home with me, I'll cover for you, I'll lie to your school, I'll do whatever it takes. You know, just stay home and help me take care of Sandra and John. So I said, okay. And because wanting to be integrity of caring about people and helping people, because helping and doing and, you know, was always my way as well. So it's like, okay, I'm helping her, she has a headache. So I'll figure something out. Well, my mom got home from work that evening. She said, so how did you do in the math test? And I said, they postponed it and we're going to take it tomorrow instead. And she said, that's funny, because your school called me and wants to know why you weren't at school today. And I said, well, Cecilia had a headache and she wanted me to stay at home. And so my mom called Cecilia, and Cecilia said, Anne begged me to stay home because she didn't want to take that math test. So Anne begged me, and I said, okay. And my mother turned around and hit me for it, and I lost integrity with my mother. And it still hurts to this day. Because that was the same night she also told me that she and my stepdad were getting a divorce. So it was like, just kind of, it's just like, well, as long as you're this upset, let me throw this at you too. And so, and so made me feel horrible for not being within my integrity to my mother. I lied to protect this other person who just turned around and smacked me completely out of integrity. So that's like a major, major thing in my life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when other people do that, when they throw you under the bus like that, it's like, I'm never going to trust anybody.
Exactly.
Oh, it's so easy. Chris?
So, I also needed to get clean and sober and get into my integrity, and I worked really hard to do that. And then I set some other goals for myself. And I went to spiritual school, and my teacher was talking about impeccability. You have to be, you can desire to be impeccable. So I set a goal for myself to be impeccable, and everything went south. It went all wrong, and basically what I think what happened was that one can strive to be in one's integrity, but if the fishbowl and the bubble that you're in is not in integrity, then it doesn't work. So I could be the bank robber with the greatest amount of integrity, but if I'm robbing banks, that's not going to work. And so it was really hard for me to look at the localization of the integrity, and then to look beyond that to the next sphere or the ring and realize I'm in the wrong business. My integrity is not going to hold, not because I don't have integrity, but because it can't hold in this environment.
Good point.
And I had to actually exit the environment and start over.
Well, that's like trying being in your integrity when you're an alcoholic. It just doesn't work. Christine?
I do want to say that our higher consciousness is impeccable.
Yeah, God is
When we
impeccable.
are one with God,
Yeah, God pretty much does what God promises to do. You know, loves unconditionally, and take care of us as well as we allow anything to do that for us. Yes, Heidi.
I have kind of an opposite story about someone else who expected me to act like act like them. It's an embarrassing story too. So,
Oh, good.
So I was.
Somebody want to stand up so everybody can hear it?
So I was at the gas station. I was filling up gas, and I got really busy. You know, they have the little squeegee thing where you do your windshields.
Right.
And I got really busy with that, and then I heard the little click that the gas was done pumping, and I was like, okay, fine, whatever, I gotta get out of here. And I threw down the squeegee, and I got in my car, and I drove off, and the pump came right off.
Oh,
no.
And fell out of my tank and all this other stuff. And fortunately, they have the safety thing now where if you do that, the whole place doesn't explode. But the thing was still broken, and I couldn't put it back on. And I was like, well, shit, okay. So I parked the car and I go into the little the little shop, and I tell the guy behind the counter, hey, I broke the thing. You know, I don't know what to do. Like, do I need to get insurance involved? Do you need to file a claim? What is this about? What do I do? And so, like, he's like, oh, I don't know. I need to call my manager. So he starts calling, and this woman, who was also filling up gas, obviously, comes up to me, and she's like, you know, I've done that before, and you know, I just drove off. Like, why didn't you just drive off?
Well, because guess what? Yeah, I
was
was
like-
raised better than you.
And I was like, 'cause that's a shitty thing to do. Like, then you're gonna leave him with this broken thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, it sucked for me because then I had to, you know, I couldn't pay, like, you know, the car insurance. There's a deductible, but the damage was beyond the deductible, and it wasn't just my car; it was the gas station, and I had to call my dad and be like, hey, I did this thing, and it really sucked, and I need money, help me. And that really sucked, but I also, now I drive by that gas station every day, and the pump is fixed, it's fine.
And you don't have to duck down when you run the line. No, and that's a very respectable thing to do, and it's easy to be out of your integrity. It's easy to go, oh, that's too expensive. Oh, I don't want that. And just leave. But that's not the right thing to do. The right thing to do is what you did, is to say, hey, I'm responsible for this. See, when I was growing up, I'm an only child, so if anything happened, I was the one that was responsible. There wasn't no, the cat did it. Yeah. I was responsible, so it was easy to be in my integrity at that point. It's like I did it, yeah, I did. And so then I had to get back to that. And fortunately, my partner is a very forgiving person, because there were a lot of times she could have just said, that's it, no more, can't do it. You lied to me the last time. And it's not easy to build that back up again. You know, it's, but fortunately, you know, we've had the time to do that. And it's because, you know, she's a forgiving person. And so it's allowed me to say, you know, I think I'm going to be a more forgiving person, because one of the things about alcoholics is that they're not very forgiving. I used to have a friend who was, if you did anything, if you didn't show up on time, if you know, it's like, you're out of here. And it's like, how can that be? Things happen. But, you know, if you're not ever given a chance, you know, your car, it's true, if your car runs out of gas, it's because you didn't put gas in it. And so it is ultimately your responsibility and your fault. But, come on, I thought I could make it. And things happen. And so there's got to be a little fudge space there. Yes, Keith?
Sometimes traffic happens.
No kidding! God,
Yes.
it's like us trying to get to Monterey on Friday. 4 hours. It's
Wow.
Wow.
You might as well drive into friggin' Bakersfield anyway.
Right.
Yeah. And so then it was like, we were trying to meet her sister. We didn't get there. We were supposed to be there at 3. We didn't get there until 7. And she was she wasn't really pissed, but she wasn't happy. And anyway, I'm glad we got there and then we had to work for time. David.
Yeah. Well, in your Monterey story, I grew up in that county, and it's like not fun driving there. You have to leave like 2 hours early to get
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
It's like, I'm glad I don't live there anymore. Well, my story has nothing to do with that. Wow, I had this friend. Wow, his name was Roger. He was a musician, he was a vocalist, and he was a really, really wonderful guy. And we hung around together, we were the best of friends. And in 1977, he was at my house for dinner. We had a good time. We're laughing, we're singing, I put on music, we're dancing, acting like crazy people. And my neighbors could see us dancing, and we're going, all right, walking by. And he went home. And that was about 7 o'clock. And then about 9:30 that evening, I got a call from SFPD. And they asked me if I knew him. And I said, yeah. And they said, we need you to come over to his place. and he was there, and he was hanging.
No.
He had hung himself. It was just at my house. And for some reason, I blame myself.
Sure,
And for years, I blame myself
sure.
because I didn't see it coming. I was so floored.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't let go of that for years. And I met Paul, and we came here. And just through this ministry, I learned how to let go of that. And so that's very recently. So it's just the 70s of holding on to that.
Well, thank you, Dean.
And since I let go of it, my life has just blossomed.
Yeah.
I was holding myself back from doing things because I was holding on to that grief. And I wouldn't let myself make friends.
Right. Well, sure, you'd be afraid to.
Yeah, that's true. It's like, he was at my house. And there was no clue, there was no note, nothing. And then they called me, and they couldn't take his body down, but they let me see that.
Oh,
boy.
And I just don't understand that. Why would you do that to somebody?
Yeah.
thank you, David.
Okay, wow.
So, it's time, excuse me for a minute, but there's one more thing that I want to say before, because I really have to. Leslie, did you want to?
It may be too long. It's just that I disengage talking about David and this ministry. Okay? What I feel from this ministry is I was able recently through a few of the angels here to re-engage with my father, who I've been disengaged with for 11 months.
Congratulations.
And I don't know if it was the concussion or what, but it was not aligned with my integrity, my principled self, of what I decided to do, that I wasn't going to take another moment of his bullying.
Mm-hmm.
And in the last 11 months, he called twice a day without fail, every single day. I never answered any of his calls. And when I saw him, I've had 2 visits with him since I re-engaged. And I'm finding a place in myself, still aligned with integrity, but my higher self is able to see this feeble man who's not a monster at my table anymore. This feeble man that I want to help and love until he goes. Because I came from his loins. And that's it's simple as that. But for God, the amount of pain from my childhood has ruled my life. And now it just seems like there's a lift. There's a shift and a lift. And it's lifting up and out, because what Christine said is we beat ourselves up so much by ourselves, but that comes from, victimized parents that we have that help put in us that we're bad, because they never got help to help themselves to be good people.
Yeah, so now that you've learned this is something that you can share with with your
so
father.
it's really something.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. I have more to say, so I get to do another sermon later.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Wow.
There's more.
I dropped something.
Well, that. Excuse my back.
We love you, Reverend Corky.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
How many of you have something like that you feel like you'd like to share, but you're kind of ashamed of something you did? Don't ever be ashamed. It's if you keep doing it, you can feel ashamed because you know that's not what you're supposed to be doing. But these wins that you do, share them with us. Just like, Leslie did. That's a win. That is changing her whole life. And every one of you I know has gone through something like that. Something that changed who you are. Well, as you know, here at CCL, the changes that we make is by your donations. So this is a time for you to take out your donation and
Giving to the ministry, from which we receive our spiritual support and nurturing.